This book is called Dear Theo, the Autobiography of Vincent Van Gogh. This is probably in my top 15 books. I really enjoyed this book. I first learned about it, actually, reading The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. And The Happiness Project is this book that you see it everywhere in these like bookstores and like even big retailers like Target. You'll be walking by and the cover is so bright. It's like blue and yellow, and it has like a fire escape on the side of a New York City building. And that book is not for me. I'm not her target audience. But a lot of times with books, I'll be reading it and I'll like just see something in it that'll make me curious. So then there was a line about Dear Theo, so I looked it up and borrowed it from the library. This was back in 2018, and earlier in May 2018, I was involved in this near-death fire accident on the tractor on the family farm. And about a week later, I went to the art museum, the Art Institute of Chicago, because I just bought a membership right before the fire, actually. And I started looking at art differently. I was never really into art before this, but I realized that art museums are basically the history of ideas in the world. And art is just knowledge in action. And you see people's, through art, you see people's like hopes and dreams and difficulties and trials and sufferings, and really expresses humanity. And I really appreciate that. So Dear Theo is a book that is comprised of letters that Vincent Van Gogh wrote to his brother Theo. And they're just so beautiful. And it like helped me better understand and see the world differently. And how like he'll be writing about everyday life in here, and it's just so beautiful. And that we're so lucky to be living and to be experiencing this, that everything is freaking awesome. And he's writing about, you know, like school children walking by and how sweet of a day it was, and like the sky looks so incredible. And what I especially love about Van Gogh is how much he was passionate about life and like living life to the best, that he found what he believed he was meant to do, to paint. And he was 29 when he came to this realization. And when I first read this book, I was 29. And since then, I've kind of gone on my own trajectory. And so I've had this like kinship with Vincent Van Gogh, and I'm inspired by a handful of people in particular, probably more than a handful. And Van Gogh is one of them. Really appreciate him. So I have this goal of mine. It's on my 50 before 50 list, right? And it's to take a photo or like a selfie with every Van Gogh self-portrait in the world. There are 37 of them, and only 33 are displayed publicly. So the other 4, people have them in their private collections, I guess. And so I got 5 done already. Chicago, New York, DC, and then there's 2 in Paris. There's 17 in the Netherlands, though. So over the next 10 years or so, I have to go to the Netherlands to get a lot of those knocked off. So this is the cover, and it's off on mine. So you can see that. Let's take a look at maybe some quotes in here, some lines, right? Thank God I have my work, but instead of earning money by it, I need money to be able to work. That is the difficulty. He's known for being, the term starving artist first came about because Van Gogh, and he would live in poverty and just paint, because that's what he was meant to do. That's what he was put on earth to do, is paint and express his inner brilliance to the world. And it didn't matter the vanity of anything else or success. It was like, this is what I'm here to do. And that is incredibly inspirational. What's funny too is like you go to museums like the Art Institute here in Chicago, and it's just a room of Van Gogh paintings that were worth millions of dollars. And he didn't see that success. And to me, that's so ironic and hilarious, because something like that would happen to me. And I just appreciate that's not the reason why he did what he did. He did it because of the art. He did it because it was in his soul, and he needed to express this to the world. Let's look at some other ones. I sometimes think, if my life were somewhat easier, how much more and how much better should I then be able to work? But I do work, and as you must have noticed from my last drawings, I begin to see a light that will conquer the difficulties. Hell yeah. There are things that make life worth living after all. It's a good one. Another one. Still, I think the most economic way is to keep going. For this bad time must be lived through. It's a good one. I know now the direction in which I have to go, and I need not hide myself. That's a good one. Now the best and most effective way of bettering myself financially is by working hard. Classic. I think that nothing awakens us to the reality of life so much as a true love. Dear Theo is a great book to get you to think more and be able to see the beauty in everyday life. The autobiography of a man who still inspires us today and who still lives on by encouraging us to live our truest lives.